Yo YouTube, it's your boy Butter and CC of course, with the Week 8 recap of Pool C of the LLL. It's the final week of the regular season and there's a lot on the line right here, a lot of cool matches heading your way. Before we can dive into all of this, I want to show you guys the standings right now. And now the standings with all of the matches caught up to Week 7. A lot has changed, now you see a lot of people out of playoffs. There are still some tickets to be sold of the playoffs, but things are pretty much set in stone. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. I'm gonna dive right in, and we see King 6-1 on the throne on number 1, Porto 6-1 as well at 2, Oceanic 5-2 at 3, Nymed. They won the match that they had to catch up. They now are at 4-3 and safe for playoffs. Same goes for IC. Izzy, of course, dropping out, so that doesn't matter. Ruben, Steel, and Toast all at 3 wins, while Graded at 2 wins, but still not out of playoffs. While that one Sableye and Boss Champs are unfortunately already eliminated. So now we go over the matches that each of these players have to play this week. King has to face Izzy, while, yeah, it's pretty obvious that Izzy is not going to play this match, so that's an automatic win for King. Nymed versus Porto though is still a hype match. Porto wants to keep that number 2 slot, if possible of course. While Nymed, yeah, it's not bad to stay at 4th. It doesn't really matter for them, but still interesting of course for the seeding. Oceanic and PawsChamp have to face each other. PawsChamp finally playing a match, so it's great to see him return. Oceanic Gamer of course potentially wanting to capitalize on Porto if Porto drops his game, so very interesting to see if Porto is still going to be number 2 or potentially being at number 3. Very interesting to see that, while Oceanic Gamer of course had a turnaround with the rough beginning of the season, potentially just keeping that momentum going, could go for 5 wins in a row. Very cool to see that. Of course, that's the steam you want to keep up when going into playoffs. While PawsChamp, yeah, you kind of want to try to win at least one game, but you know, it's not a shame if you don't. It's a very tough opponent this week, of course. Then we are moving into the big game this week. It's IC versus Graded. Very interesting to see what is going to happen right now. IC doesn't really matter for them, but it does matter a lot for Graded, because Graded has to win this match, has with a capital H right here. Potentially have to win big as well. Differential could be an issue if things just turn out that way. There's a lot of heat on Graded right now. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulder. And it could be that the pressure is too much for him, but you know, we'll see it in the match. But I feel like the mentally, IC is really a step ahead right here. Then we are heading into Ruben Steel. Could be that this match that is not even relevant, but it could be very relevant. One of those matches that could just be a display of power. And then it's Toast versus Sableye. Sableye potentially not being able to play this week, so yikes, could be sticky. Of course, you want to win that last match, but you know, it's a win for Toast if they don't show up, so I don't think Toast really minds. We are heading into the first matches though, so yeah, let's go. Unfortunately, Izzy was busy, so King remains in the first seed and finishes, like I said, in the first seed of the Pool C of the LLL. Congratulations! And now we are looking at the game of the week, which is Nymed versus Porto. And yeah, I know both of these players are already in playoffs, I mean. But yeah, this game is way too hype not to include as game of the week. So without further ado, let's look at the teams. I'm just gonna highlight a few mons, of course. Look at Nymed. Oh man, that Cinderace has such a good speed tier. Outspeeding everything naturally. Just U-turning and pivoting around. That's an amazing foresight. You have a very, very cool Heracross right there. Guts can break through stuff like Giratina, while Moxie's Scarf could also do a lot of damage, but just being able to pressure some of those walls naturally, or Terra Fairy, whatever. Yeah, that's just an amazing matchup. And Mewtwo as well. Mewtwo has an amazing matchup due to its sheer power, so Life Orb or Specs, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't need a lot of coverage either. So yeah, it can do a lot of damage if it wants to. Gastro-Done also highlight Mon, being able to be a semi-response to a Magearna if it's ever needed. And at Porto's side, I'm looking at a very thick Giratina that can potentially do a lot of crazy shit with Calm Mindset if it wants to, or just pivot around. Yeah, in general, it's a very nasty Mon to break through this week. I also see in a Crossmat that can set up if it wants to. You can also go with the Spathra, kind of the Psychic type that can set up. Yeah, just the prospect of that after Mantabuzz is gone is just very, very threatening. And a less standout Mon is that Mienshao, because Scarf Mienshao can also pivot around very easily if it wants to. Just keep that regenerated core with a potential Slowking or whatever. Yeah, with that out of the way, I'm just gonna look at the video. So let's hop in. And we are looking at a Magearna versus Cinderace lead with a baller move for Porto, just staying in, going for the T-Wave, and not even fearing the Power Ball, and crippling the Dialga in the process, so that's not a bad first turn. Second turn is just a shitter in general, nothing happened there. Third tree, the spikes go up while Fire Blast missed, but it's a very, very beneficial turn for Porto, and Porto just having the early game advantage right away, having a spike up and finishing off the Dialga. Yeah, that's a great way to start a match. But Nimbat, yeah, he doesn't want to sit around and do nothing. Heracross is able to come in, EQ that Magearna, and taking it down in the process. So we are down 5-5. But yeah, I don't know what Giratina is going to do to break this Heracross, because Heracross removes an item, gets parried, and shows how gutsy it really is with that Terra Blast doing 58% damage. Insane amount of damage. And being able to take Giratina out in the process. The Giant Slayer Heracross strikes once again. But Necrozma now comes in, finishes off the Heracross before it gets out of hand. And yeah, it might just see an opportunity to go for a setup move. U-turn on the Necrozma is not as free as we thought beforehand, because weakness policy pops. Holy shit, that's something you don't want to see, especially after a D-Dance. It's also gauging the amount of damage that it's gonna do versus the Fortress not having Gyro Ball, but being able to full switch out. Gastro-Done, the question is, are you gonna take that Photon Geyser behind screens? And you are. Thick boy, you did exactly what you were brought to do. I love the fact that they brought Yawn over Clear Smog, because Magearna, of course, is not affected by the Clear Smog, so great bring there. And now Mewtwo comes in, potentially capitalizing on that sleeping Necrozma, and yeah, it goes for an agility. That's something you don't see every day. And Shadow Ball finishes off Necrozma right there. Now Slowking comes in, but it gets taunted, so yeah, that Nest Blood is not gonna go through, as Mewtwo is going to Nest Blood itself. Turns out this is that's three status moves and a Shadow Ball. No Psychic Stab, no. Double Dance, Taunt, Shadow Ball. What a set, and that's exactly the set that is effective this week, finishing off this entire match with a Mewtwo sweep in the end. Holy crap. It's something that beforehand, yeah, you know Mewtwo has a good match, but I didn't just think, yeah. Did you stop and realize, oh, Shadow Ball is all you need? Because Swalot is the only potential Dark type with that Terra Dark, and Swalot is not known as the best Mon in general, but just seeing that oversight in his draft, Mewtwo, what a match, and Nimbat, what a bring in this match. Absolutely bonkers, and that's a 3-0 for Nimbat going into playoffs so well. And also Porto dropping a place in the standings, so whew, what a match.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final cast of the main season. This is Pool C, Week 8. This time for real, I totally didn't screw up the cast like 3 times. And here we see Oceanic versus PozJam. Now, this is Revavroom is a Mon who is, it's very, like, everyone knows it's a good Terra Captain, but it was yet to really do anything in our draft league. But it finally proved it's not just a good Terra Captain in theory, this is what it can do, and it just absolutely tore PosChamp's team to shreds in the end game, giving Ocean a very clean 4-0 victory. He handled a lot of things very well this game. Low kicks did get a kill, so I can't hate on it too badly. Well done, Ocean.
And we finally made it to Graded Icy, a match in which Graded really has to show up, and they tried their best to gain momentum in this match. They tried to gain the upper hand, going for that sticky webs, pressuring the team speed-wise, going potentially for a Iron Valiant sweep in the back. But man, Icy really just had to respond, and he responded great. There was a lot of pressure on Graded, and I feel like Icy felt that. It was just being a matter of being calm, kinda try to not lose to sticky webs. Potentially that Corv Knight had defog as well, I don't know. But yeah, I don't feel like Icy really felt any pressure that much in this game. Graded had a very cool backup plan, or the sweeping plan, was it Iron Valiant with Calm Mind. It could have done so much damage, but unfortunately there was not a window of opportunity to really go for a Calm Mind and get things rolling. Icy just being calm, cool, and collective with the Pelafin, just nuking great. Yeah, it's very unfortunate that things had to turn out this way, but Graded lost this match. And yeah, on that note, that kind of means that the match between Ruben and Steel does not matter at all. Just doesn't matter. Of course it matters for seeding wise, but Graded unfortunately drops to 2-6 and is out of playoffs. Graded, yeah, unfortunate, my brother. While Icy, congratulations with that better seeding of yours.
And here's a problem. So in this game, a thing you see is a Nassel stack and a Zom Center. This Nassel stack is absolutely disgusting, and this end game goes on for far too long. But things do not go well for our dear friend Ruben here. It's 1-by-1. So he lost his Skymary to an unlucky freeze, and in stall, once you just start losing mons, they all fall. So his Skymary fell. Dragapult died finishing off the Iron Defense Calm Mind Glow King, given Dino Nightmares. And then after the phaser in Skymary was destroyed, all that was left was for Steel to bring in Nassel stack, an absolutely disgusting mon with, sure, it's a not fully evolved Pokemon, but I don't think it knows that. It does absolutely disgusting things, Assault Cure and just Curse. That was a crit, by the way. That was bypassing the defense multiplier, and it did not matter. Ruben, he went from Kingslayer to Man Who Fell, and he ends up going into... well, I think CC is going to talk about the brackets in after these games, but yeah, Ruben just forfeits. He's done. He's very upset of that freeze, but he played well. Things happen. Pokemon's a luck-based game. Unfortunate does not begin. Now I'm gonna hand it over to CC for the rest of the cast.
Yeah, you knew that we had to end it off on this note. Toast is taking a forfeit win over Sableye due to scheduling issues. Unfortunately, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. But this affirms that Toast is in playoffs, so congratulations, Toast, by reaching playoffs. Hey! And Mod of the Week goes to Nagelstack. Yeah, Butter and I agreed wholeheartedly that this, I think, 3-pointer with Terra Fairy absolutely wrecking an opponent, getting 4 kills. That's insane, that's wild, that's crazy. So, well-deserved game of the week. So, well-deserved Mod of the Week for us. Yeah, shout out to you, Nagelstack. And now we are looking at the final ranking of the season. Things at top, well, surprisingly did change. Well, Incredible King still regained that number 1 seed, 7-1. Oceanic Gamer now at number 2. Man, you turned around from 1-2 to 6-2. Incredible. While Porto now drops to number 3 on the seeding. Nymet still at number 4. Icy at number 5. And then we are heading into the juicy bits. The players that did not end on a very comfortable win. they ended barely into playoffs. It's Steel with a 4-4 record. Differential is neutral as well, so it's a very neutral season for them. They ended at 6th, very interestingly, because a couple of weeks ago they were at 12th. Toast, number 7, 4-4. Izzy could have been playoffs, but decided not to join playoffs. So it's Ruben taking advantage of that with the 3-4 record. Man, you just joined later in the season, and after that, just you especially against top opponents, you did really well. So it's interesting to see that you made playoffs because you were dealt a very bad hand, of course, joining way later than other players. So props to you, my dude. And then the 3 people that are out of playoffs, not by choice, but just by not by choice, Jesus, but just by the record itself. Graded barely did not make playoffs, of course. Dude, you had so many cool moments. Especially the first week versus Power Hero, what a game that was. You had a couple of really tight matches, week 6 and 7. You barely did not make it. I really enjoyed the things that you brought this season. And I feel like you learned a lot this season as well as a player. I felt you grow in the season. Unfortunately, it was not enough, but thanks a lot for showing up. Then that one Sableye, I really did not rate your team that much at the beginning, your draft. I feel like that's still the main issue. You as a player, I think you have a lot of potential, and this is just one big learning curve for you and a lot of players, of course. So next season, try to come up with a better draft plan and see how we can improve that. And from that point on, I think you can just pick up momentum and really improve going forward to the next season. And Pause Champ, dude. I love the fact that the person I ranked at number 1 at the power ranking and at last. It's not making fun of you, of course. You had so many games where you had shit luck. It's just disgusting how many bad matchups you had. Week 7, you had a very good luck streak, but still was not enough. The moments I remember the most of you is, of course, losing to Izzy. Oh my lord, what a shitty match that was. The loss versus that one Sableye was very shitty as well. You just had very bad luck, and I feel like if you can laugh about it, it's all fine. But with that being said, we are going to take a look at the playoff picture. It's Incredible King versus Ruben. Very interesting matchup. It's the God versus the God Slayer. Nymet versus Icy Scream. A matchup where I really don't feel like there is a big favorite. 2 players that really showed up this season. Oceanic Gamer versus Toast. I feel like a very confident player going up against a player that just lacks confidence. So it might be the battle of the confidence. I don't know. And then we are heading to Porto Steel. A player that had really good early game momentum with a 5-0 win streak, I believe, versus a player that really showed up last end of the season. The 5-0 wins, of course, the big win at the end. Yeah, it's very interesting to see if Steel can pick up the momentum or if Porto can finally get a grasp on things and go for a comeback. Dude, I love these matches, and I'm very, very grateful that I can see the matches in a couple of weeks. Butter and I are very delighted that we can host this this playoff picture. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.